So this is going to be a series on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership from John Maxwell. This has to be one of my favorite leadership books. I would say it's in between right now, currently, over the last few years. It's the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And I'm going to do another series on the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader. I'm going to use the book as well just to kind of help explain. And I recommend, like, if you go through mine, I slowly like to dissect the most impactful books for me as an individual and like my niche being in the life insurance industry and having a life insurance company here in Chicago. So for me, leadership is absolutely vital and crucial, is to become and evolve myself into a better leader for the leaders that I'm responsible for. So the first law is the law of the lid. Very simply explaining the law of the lid. The law of the lid is your leadership potential and capability in the present moment. Like, what is your lid right now? So if you were to think in regard to, I would say the best analogy would be almost like a fish tank, right? So if you put a 4-foot, 5-foot shark in a 4-foot, 5-foot fish tank, it's not going to really get any bigger than 4 or 5 feet. There's no room for it to get any bigger. So now if I want to bring in other sharks that are 8, 9, 10 feet long, they're going to have to go into a bigger enclosure. So they're no longer going to be with that 4 or 5-foot shark. So if you're a leader and you've got a 4 or a 5 as a leadership lid right now, and there's individuals around you that are 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, those individuals might get along with you in general, but they're not going to work for you, if that makes sense. And developing and building your leadership lid is something that you're going to do over time with self-development and implementation of the self-development. Self-development, just reading leadership books and then implementing and winning and getting results and growing that leadership lid over time. And so everybody, people always joke with, I've gone to a few John Maxwell conferences, and it's always, are leaders born or are they made? Well, obviously they're born. How else would they get here, right? But over time, you can evolve your leadership lid. I would say the most would be 3 points, right? But I think somebody who's very, very resilient and very set and determined on becoming a great leader can work their way very, very high on that leadership scale. The second is the law of influence. The law of influence is essentially the true measure of leadership is their influence, nothing more, nothing less. And really utilizing this is good here. Abraham Lincoln started with the rank of captain, but by the time the war was over, he was a private. What happened? He was a casualty of the law of influence. So you don't have influence over others immediately. You know what I mean? Very, very rarely do you have influence over others immediately. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So influence starts with relationship building. And another great John Maxwell book is The 5 Levels of Leadership. And if you look at these, first you get the position, which is ultimately, I feel as if it should be like the 4 levels of leadership, because position it's a given. It's almost like asking if leaders are born. We already know you're in leadership. The first is permission. So the first level, the first truly valuable level is the permission. Getting permission from others starts with, do they know that you care about them? People need to experience you caring about them before they experience what you know. That's awesome that you know all of these great things, but do you care about me? So the law of influence, everything rises and falls on leadership. That's why it's so important for you to really dive into this. Use this quick 5-10 minute paraphrase of this, large book, but also I recommend getting into the book yourself if you really want to evolve your leadership. And this is something you go over and over and over again through these books that are very impactful for you. The law of the process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. Theodore Roosevelt helped create a world power, won a Nobel Peace Prize, and became a president of the United States. But today you wouldn't even know his name if he hadn't known the law of the process. So not many people know this, and I kind of forget until I go back through the book again and again, is Theodore Roosevelt was born with many different physical inhibitors. You know what I mean? That just like sick, very sick. I don't know if it was polio or what exactly he had, but almost like unable to walk, very frail, malnourished, and got into boxing. And then ultimately, if you break down the law of the process, it's success and great things don't happen in a day, but they happen daily. So it's showing up and being committed to the process, to the actual doing of the work, the physical actions of what needs to be done in order for me to grow in the area that I want to grow in. Is it that my personal life, mentally, physically, spiritually, my business life, financially, the relationships around me? What are the tangible things that I can physically do in a day-to-day basis? And then do I have a long enough perspective to be willing to do what it takes and be committed, like the continuous effort piece of content. I don't know if you guys checked that out. The next law number 4, is the law of navigation. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. So using a fail-safe compass, Scott led his team of adventurers to the end of the earth and to inglorious deaths. They would have lived if only he, their leader, had known the law of navigation. So I really like this. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. So the law of navigation, I like one of my favorite lines out of this passage, out of this chapter, is a leader sees before others see. He sees more than others see. And then in addition to seeing before and seeing more than others see, he's able to have this perspective of seeing further than others see. So seeing before, seeing more, but also seeing further. So there's, when you see before, you can see things play out proactively of like, these decisions they're making are going to lead to this. And then when you see more, it's an expanded horizon of like what's all involved in everything that I'm visualizing as the leader. Then seeing further kind of ties into the seeing before, but you've it's this future visionary of like, almost on the positive side, I would say more so of like, here's where we're leading and here's where we're going. And so this is something you develop over time through just doing it and making mistakes on your own and trying to learn from others' mistakes and utilizing your leadership intuition. That is a key component where I'm like, a piece of me, I don't know if that's something that you develop, if it develops naturally over time, or if that's more of like a natural instinctual skill of like, yo, I just got this feeling. I got this gut feeling. Here's how this is going to play out. The law of addition, leaders add value by serving others. Pretty self-explanatory, because ultimately your biggest asset in leadership is always going to be people. It's going to be two things. It's going to be yourself and your people. You're never going to be ever to overinvest in those two areas. You can never overinvest into yourself nor into your people. No, I'm talking about buying Lamborghinis and everything for you and your people. I'm talking about developing your mind, your body, your spirit, becoming a better individual internally, and then being able to pour that into your people and encouraging them to do the same. It's impossible for us to become perfect beings, but the more value we add to others, the more value we ultimately add to ourselves and our team and the organizations that we're leading. Law number 6 is the law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership. So without trust, you're not going to be able to lead individuals. I love hearing this and teaching this, and I've experienced this. So trust is accumulated in droplets, but it's lost in buckets. So imagine you're carrying a big bucket of water, and to fill that thing up, you had to fill it up with droplets, just one little drop at a time. That's like building trust. Building trust is like one little drop at a time, but you break somebody's trust, it's like you dump out the whole bucket. And you got to restart, and it's like you restart with a fraction of droplets. So if at first it was droplets, now it's like an eighth of droplets to rebuild that trust. It'll never be the same. Once you really destroy and break someone's trust, it'll never be the same. But be encouraged. Keep pushing, keep loving, keep moving forward, because you're always going to have another opportunity with another individual, and it's only good for you to learn. Try to learn from the experience of others so you don't have to experience it yourself. But it's a blessing to learn. It's a blessing to have those obstacles. The law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. This is very simple. Just because you have a great office life doesn't mean people are going to respect and want to follow you, because of the law of respect of, do you have a great outside the office life? You out partying and clubbing and cheating on your wife and not living, a healthy lifestyle. You don't have to be in the gym every day and eat all the best foods, but having respect for yourself and your household outside of your leadership organization, they go hand in hand. I always tell everybody, when you go into leadership, you sacrifice this idea of this, individualism of you're just isolated 24/7. There's isolation times where you can have time to yourself. But what's done in the dark will come to the light 10 times harder when you're in leadership. And every time you go up, that just expands. There's more light, there's just shown on your entire land, on your entire kingdom, and it comes to the surface. Number 8 is the law of intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. So I really like this. I'll just share. How does Steve Jobs keep reinventing Apple Computer and taking it to the next level? The answer can be found in the law of intuition. You have gut instincts that just tell you and pull you, and you got to take risk. Without risk, there's no reward. So it's like, my gut's telling me we got to make one of these play calls. I sometimes do it instantaneously without even contacting all of my leaders. I'm like, yo, here's a play call we're running. Get on board or get off. Let's go. We're going to run it. And if we mess up, it's on me. If we win, it's on you. Great job executing the play call. That's on you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Let's go. Number 9 is law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. Very, very simple. Like, people are always like, I want better people. Well, you get better people by becoming a better person. Number 10, the law of connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. This is one of the first lessons my mentor, Simon Arias, taught me, is before I ask for somebody to work with me, work for me, to help me out, I've got to ask for their heart. I've got to build a relationship. Law number 11, the law of the inner circle. A leader's potential is determined by those closest to him. We've all heard our parents tell us, birds of a feather flock together. You hanging out with drug dealers, you hanging out with brokies, you're going to be a drug dealer, you're going to be a brokie, you're going to be an individual who has nothing if you're around people that have nothing. Be around people that have something. Be around the valuable people so you can become a valuable person. The law of empowerment. Only secure leaders give power to others. Henry Ford is considered an icon of American business for revolutionizing the automobile industry. So what caused him to stumble so badly that his son feared Ford Motor Company would go out of business? He was held captive by the law of empowerment. So only secure leaders can give power to others. When you have insecurity in leadership, you're never going to be able to truly empower others. You're always going to have this scarcity mindset, and you're always going to want to cripple them before they're able to evolve. And ultimately, when you cripple the people in your organization, you cripple yourself, because your business is your people. So you cripple your business when you cripple your people. Number 13 is the law of the picture. People do what people see. Kind of ties into the law of respect. What are you doing? In the office and out of the office, people are going to do what you do. So what are you showing them? Law number 14, the law of buy-in. People buy into leaders and then the vision. So people, and I ask myself all the time, like, why are they not buying into my vision? Why are they not buying into this next play call that I have for our business? Well, Tristan, did I build a good enough relationship with them? Did I invest enough time into the vision, into the clarity in regard to how this ties into their vision, what they want, why they want it? So the law of buy-in, it starts with them buying into me as the leader. It goes back to the relationship, caring for people. Do they know how much I care? Is there clarity? Law number 15, the law of victory. Leaders find a way for the team to win. What saved England from the Blitz broke Apartheid's back in South Africa and won the Chicago Bulls multiple world championships. In all three cases, the answer is the same. Their leaders lived by the law of victory. You got to find a way to win. Leaders find a way to win. It's as simple as that. Number 16, the law of the big mo. This is one of the most important leadership lessons. I've just experienced it this last year of losing momentum and having to basically force an automobile or a train, a car, whatever, force it by hand to get moving again. And so momentum is a leader's best friend. So momentum, I like to reference it this way. With big momentum, imagine a big train. As it's moving, it's almost impossible to stop. If it stops, it takes forever to get going again. Leadership momentum. Produce results for your people, you're always going to have momentum. As soon as results slow down for your people, it all trickles up for your business, for your organization. Make sure your people are winning and stay zoned in and you're producing results to keep that train fueled and moving. Number 17, the law of priorities. Leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. So the law of priorities, you got to prioritize. I ask myself this question. Does it make me better or does it make me money? If it doesn't, exit out. Not going to do it. Don't care what it is. My personal life, birthdays, XYZ, like there's a measurement of like, what am I going to get out of this versus what am I going to have to put into this? And then that's how I'm going to prioritize. Like the more I'm going to get out of it in comparison to what I'm putting into it, it's a return on investment. That's where I'm going to invest my time, money, energy, and resources. Number 18 is the law of sacrifice. As we wrap up, a leader must give up to go up. Again, Simon hammered this into my head. I was 18 years old getting into the life insurance industry and immediately started developing me into a leader. And he said, a leader must give up to go up. And ultimately, people don't even realize you are a leader wherever you're at in your life because you're a leader of yourself. And that's the hardest individual to lead. And you have to realize for you to get what you want out of this life, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You can check out all the content I put up and ultimately just forget the content. Look at my life and look at the life of my mentor and the individuals that are successful in your industry. There's sacrifices being made yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and there's no other way around it. Number 19, the law of timing. When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go. This is so important. This is so important, guys. When to lead. So when to deliver the message, when to make the play call, when to act, when to do. The law of timing is so vital. You've got to analyze. I like to do it this way, especially if it's constructive criticism or to make the organization better. Personally, I like to do it quickly. I like to do it privately, and I like to do it with compassion. And really compassion for me is understanding and letting individuals speak their perspective and not just speak it, but hear it and feel it. To the best of my ability to be an empathetic leader, the law of timing is so vital and so crucial. Number 20, the law of explosive growth. To add growth, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. Very simple. If you want to multiply and have explosive growth, lead leaders. Put an emphasis on producing leaders in your organization, in your business, in your area of life, and you are going to see, not overnight, but over time. Remember, leadership isn't developed in a day, but daily. So over the days and many, many days and many, many years, you're going to have explosive growth when you put an emphasis on leadership development. 21 is the law of legacy. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. I love this. This is such a great one to end on. And ultimately, I believe and I know leadership success isn't reflecting what you get done, but what you get done through others, and what you'll get done through others when you step out of your throne, off your throne. Have a great day. I hope you guys like this. If you did, like, share, subscribe. Check out all the other content if you're a returning listener. Just want to try to add as much value as I can. I'm in the life insurance industry. I'm trying to specialize to that niche because I really haven't had any success whatsoever outside of the life insurance industry. But if you find value, try it out. These are leadership books. So this is something that should help us all. Have a great day. I'm Tristan Dlabik. Be blessed.